environment, we're talking about the elements that organizations interface with, all right, that are not under the control of the organization. Elements that uh please just give me a moment. I have to make a call. I'm seeing something on my screen that the content of the meeting is being sent to other apps. I don't know what that means, and I've not been informed earlier. So just give me a moment. I'll call. I want to make a call to Gabriel, and then I'll continue. Okay, it's clear now. All right. Um, all right. So we're saying that for the external, uh, when you hear the external business environment or the external organization dynamics, we're talking about those elements. When I say elements, I'm using elements, we could call them factors also. Those elements, those factors, okay, that interplay with every business, but that the business don't have control over. Internal, they have control over, but the external, they don't have control over. For instance, the staff of the organization. Every organization has control over their staff. And that is why staff fall under the internal business environment. Okay. But then there are some elements that the business doesn't have control over. And these elements are supposed to also interface with the business. The business must understand how to manage these elements to ensure that they remain a going concern. So I want to ask a question here. For elements that the business, that the organization, that the company does not have control over, how do you think they can manage such elements and still get the best for themselves? What do you think the business must do for elements they cannot control, but they must interface with such elements? Just like you, uh, there are elements you can't control, but you must keep interfacing with such elements, okay, in order to remain a going concern. But how do you think the business or the company or the organization can manage such elements? Can anybody help? What do you think must be done? How do you think the business can control such elements that, I mean, how do you think they can manage and get the best out of such elements that they don't have control over? Can anybody try? Abiola, we didn't hear you at all. I don't know what is wrong with the connections this morning. What just happened to what we heard from you? Same thing we heard from John. Yes, Collins, you want to say something?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Yes, the company can try to adjust the internal elements by just being flexible to make sure they accommodate or try to uh, to 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 be able to manage the external organization dynamics by
Absolutely.
adjusting the internal.
Yeah. Thank you. That's good. Yeah, if you say by adjusting the internal, yeah, that's fine. All right. To what extent the internal will be adjusted or should be adjusted is a thing for a discussion. But I agree completely with you to say that number one, you mentioned adjustment. All right. Uh, yeah, every organization, every business, and everybody, every one of us that interface, every one of us that interfaces with things we do not have control over, one thing we must do is adjustment. But before we adjust, we must monitor. Before we must monitor. All right. You must monitor the trend. So to add to what you said, Collins, which was very correct. First of all, you monitor the trend. You monitor how these external business environments, how they are playing out. Okay. What kind of signals they are giving. Monitor the trend before you then begin to take necessary steps to adjust. I hope that makes sense to all of us. Monitor the trend, number one, and then adjust accordingly. So these are two amongst many other things an organization can do to get the best from the external business environment. Now I'm going to ask the same question in another way and see if we're following. Okay. Now, why must an organization monitor the trend of the external business environment, of the external organization dynamics? Why must an organization monitor the trends, okay, from the external and then adjust accordingly? Why? Yes, Collins.
Yes, sir.
Because
Thank you very
the
much, sir.
Hey, Abiola, let's hear you,
Because
Abiola. Collins, please hold on. Let's hear Abiola this time. Abiola, let's hear you. Collins, thank you.
I believe the company has to adjust to the trend of what is going on because they have to follow the market trend in order to make adjustments for them to make more sales and more profit from that.
Hmm. Okay, thank you. Collins, let's hear you now. Sorry, I paused you.
yes, no problem, sir. One, it's for the organization to remain relevant in terms of the new trend. What is current? What is the latest? And also because of the competitive nature of business environment on the market.
Absolutely. Thank you both. Yes, you both are correct. All right. So fine. I think we are on the same page. Now I want to look at the elements in in the external business environment. What are the elements in the external business environment? Um, Now, if you look at the diagram there, I hope you can see it a bit clearly. You will see that we have the external forces on business, and these are the representation of the external business environment. There are many more, but the first traditional ones will be what we are looking at now. Okay, so what are the external forces there? What are the external representation of what are the representatives of the external business environments. We have technology, we have political climate, we have economic climate. Now you could change the climate to factors, okay? So I could say technological factors, I could say political factors, I could say economic factors, social factors, okay? Legal factors, all right? And then other market related factors, so market factors. Now, these are the elements of the external business environment. So now you begin to wonder, or you begin to understand why we said that no organization has control over these elements, over the external business environment. No organization has control over it. Okay. All they need to do is monitor the trend and then adjust accordingly. Let's pick the technological, for instance. All right. Now, what do we mean by, or let me just explain technological factors as maybe advancement or otherwise of technology. Advancement or otherwise of what? Of relevant technology for a particular industry. Now, an organization that belongs to an industry will always keep the ears down and keep the eyes open to know if there are latest or new inventions when it comes to technology, new technological breakthroughs in that industry. Can anybody tell me why an organization should pay attention to latest technological breakthroughs, latest technological introduction in their industry? Can anybody tell me why? Why should we pay attention to that? And what kind of adjustments can we make as an organization? Why should an organization pay attention to the latest, inventions or breakthroughs or introductions of technology in their own industry, and what kind of adjustment can the organization make in response to such uh, uh, latest introductions of technology? Anybody? Why should an organization pay
Hello,
at?
sir.
Yeah, go on, God Collins.
Thank you very much. Just as I said earlier about relevance and competitive nature of our business environment, because there are other organizations that are also in the same market with you. And if they are always moving with the latest trend, you'll be left behind. Before you know it, your performance you will be losing customers because you want to have more patronage, more customers, and you want to remain relevant in the market. New technologies that can improve your performance, that can add more profit to your organization, you want to leverage on those technologies and advance. So that's the reason why an organization is always very careful to monitor to see which of them, like for instance, if banks, GTB or other banks are going with the latest trend and you have this other bank that is not moving with them, you will see it going behind. More customers will be moving from such to the one that can give customers or clients the very value for their service or for their money. So that's just that.
Correct. That's very correct. And I believe if you have any other thing to say, please just indicate. Okay. But that's very, very correct. Now the reason, Franklin, you want to say something?
Oh, no. I'm just joining in, trying to.
All right. All right. Now, the reason organizations must pay attention to latest innovations in technology in their industry it's just like Colin said, if you don't pay attention, other organizations in the industry will take advantage of the latest technology and beat you to the competition. All right, they'll beat such organizations to the competition. All right, so it is important that you pay attention as an organization, that every organization pays attention to the technological breakthroughs in their industry. All right, and then respond by, also trying to implement such technology in their own industry, especially if it is something they know advances their cause and helps them to remain in business and in competition. Okay, so the same thing for technology, we've explained for technology, goes for political. No organization has control over the political factors. No organization. No organization can come out and beat their chest and say, yeah, we installed the latest political era. We installed the president. We put the president there. We sponsored all and put all those in the National Assembly there. Nobody, no organization can do that. And so the laws, the political body languages, the political pronouncements, okay, about businesses is something every organization should pay attention to. You could be in business today, running it pure and good, and the next day you become an illegality in the country just by political pronouncements. Formerly, rice was being imported to Nigeria, for instance. And then the last administration came and banned the importation of rice, saying that Nigeria should be, just to make sure to help Nigerian farmers grow rice so well and then make Nigeria self-sufficient in rice production. All right. But then that policy, as much as it helped, also dealt a blow into on the economy. And then this new administration came and opened the borders for a while, I was told, opened the borders for a while for rice to come in and for other foodstuff to come in. At some point, even tried to remove uh, 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 taxes on some of those things just to ensure that people bring them in as much as possible to to help alleviate the hunger in the land. So before last administration, people were dealing in rice. They woke up one morning when last administration came and they discovered that their business became an illegal business in Nigeria. And now it has moved from being illegal to the normal business again. I don't know if they've banned the rice thing now and all that, but if you don't pay attention to the political factors, okay, as an organization, you will discover that you could be lost in trend. Like I said, you could sleep one night as an organization. The organization can sleep one night and wake up the next morning and become an illegal entity. If you don't pay attention to political pronouncements and body languages and all that and laws and all that, you will discover that you could be running foul of the law. And they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. Okay. Now, economic climate too. No organization has the economy in their control, under their control, no organization. So all you need to do is to monitor the trend also of the economy. Are we growing economically? Okay, what is the exchange rate? What is the power of the currency? What are the economic indices showing that more people are getting into the prosperous cadre or getting into the poverty cadre? All those things you must understand, and you must know how they affect your business. All right. You must know how they affect your business and know where to make necessary adjustments. All right. Social influences or social factors. No organization today can 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 say everybody should remain a bachelor for the next 6 years. All unmarried young men, you must remain like that for the next 6 years because we want to sell all our products that we sell to single unmarried men. No organization can say that. No organization can dictate your social standing, your social status. No organization can do that. No organization can say, okay, all children born because we sell diapers and pampers, all organization, all children born this month must remain 1 year, must remain 1 month old for the next 2 years because we want to sell 1 month old. It's not possible. So social statuses change, all right? Social standings change, social lives keeps evolving and going from one level to the other, and every organization must be able to keep abreast with the changes in the social lives of everyone, especially those they are serving, and see how to make necessary adjustments. I hope we all understand. Like I said, please do a lot of if you have a question, do your jottings. If you have any question, please you can ask. Okay. Legal constraints, legal factors, just like the law, the courts. Competitors can take anybody to court. The courts can make pronouncements. Somebody else that doesn't have to do with you, that doesn't have to do with your organization, can go to court. The court can make a pronouncement that will affect even your organization. A pronouncement they made to somebody that has nothing to do with you, no link with you, they can make, the court can make a pronouncement and it will be affecting directly some organizations. That is why we need to always keep abreast with the laws of the land and pronouncements from um, um, uh, legal authorities. Okay. I know if you have gone through any law course or you've been to the court, you'd always discover that they will always cite, you know, cases that have been decided upon. Some of them unchangeably so have been decided upon even by the Supreme Court. And once the Supreme Court has decided on a case, it is very difficult for the Supreme Court to reverse itself, to repent of itself. Once they've decided on the case, they've decided. Now, there are some of those cases, some of those laws, some of those precedents that come as a result of such pronouncements that could be binding on some businesses. So every organization must take note and then make necessary adjustments. So you're not on the other side of the law. Okay, so you're not running foul of the law. So you are also making sure that the land with which or the land in which you have your business, okay, is also uh, uh, a land that will not swallow you or swallow the business up. I hope we all understand, and I hope it is clear. If you have questions, you can ask me. We're looking at the external business environment today, the external organization dynamics. And we started by saying that it is called external because there are no organizations do not have control over them. The one we called internal, they are called internal because organizations have control over them. So if you go back to when we discussed internal organization dynamics, you see that there's always an element of the organization deciding what those things should be in the internal. But for the external, there's no control, and the organizations do not decide, what should be. They just monitor the trend and then they comply. Okay, they adjust accordingly. Now I want to look at more factors, that still applies to the external environment. If you look at other market factors, one of the things about the market is the forces of demand and supply. Can anybody define what demand is? What is demand? I know we can see the definition of supply there. What is demand? Anybody? Can anybody help us with the definition of demand? What does demand mean?
Demand is the quantity or the amount of product or service the buyer is able to get to buy at a particular time.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, one thing we know in basic economic terms is that supply and demand keep, most of the time are at variance with each other. Okay. And that's why we talk about, if we use price, for instance, to determine demand, we say the higher the price, the lesser the quantity demanded. But then for supply, it will be the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied. Do you understand? And vice versa. All right. So we discovered that when we use pricing, for instance, as a common influencer on supply and demand, you see that they always go at variance. Demand is that quantity, okay, of goods, services that a person is willing and able to buy at a given price and at a particular point in time. Supply on its own is that quantity of product or service that a supplier is willing and able to supply at a given price. Supply will be willing to supply more at a higher price, while demand will only be demanding less at a higher price. But then if the price is lower, then there'll be higher demand, but it will not be encouraging to supply. Supply and demand are not under any organization's control. What people demand, what people supply is not a function of the organization. All right. Can we quickly just roll out what influences demand? What do you think influences demand? Apart from price, what are the things that can influence people's demand for products or services? Anyone? Yeah, price is there. What other things can influence demand?
Weather and climate.
Weather and climate, yes, especially for seasonal goods like
Goods.
seasonal dresses, okay,
Yeah.
or even for transport, like we're in logistics and transport class now. For transport, weather and climate really is a very big influence on demand. All right.
Per
And
capital income also.
say again.
Per capital income.
Yeah,
Income of the
that is the income of the country.
population. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the income that is spread amongst the population. The more you have um the buying power, the more you will demand. Many of us, we know what we eat, we know what we put on. If you get to work on Monday and you have a letter on your desk saying your salary has been increased from 200,000 to 800,000 with effect from May, what do you think you will come? What do you think you'll be thinking? What will come to your
More
mind?
buying power.
You have more
Social
buying power.
status they change.
social status changes. You might be thinking of changing your, well, my clothes, I get them from Ikeja. I think I should be going to um Ikoyi now or VI to get my clothes, some of these fine boutiques. This is the tailor that sews my native. I think I should be going to meet what are their names? Those that sew for the big people, because I have more money. My children are going to this school. I think I should change their school. You will discover that these are the things that affect demand. Okay. The the uh taste and fashion, all right, the per capita income, you understand, weather, climate, and they affect demand. If you go through all of them, you will not see anything like the organization. There's no organization that influences demand. Yes, organizations can go through, use their adverts to influence, to make people want to taste. But the actual thing that makes you taste will be, do you have the money in your hand? Do you have interest in this thing? Has somebody testified that this thing is okay? All right, that it's not a waste of money, and all that. Those are the things that will eventually influence your decision, that step you take in order to purchase, and for supply, price will be a factor. Okay. The nearness, proximity will be a factor too when it comes to supply, all right, and all that. The fact remains, okay, that demand and supply are outside the control of any organization, okay, and we just have to respond. Organizations just have to respond to whatever, and adjust themselves accordingly. Okay. Now, well, let's look at competitive advantage now. Now we've tried to look at demand and supply, which is part of the market. So we're still looking at things that are market related. And one of the things that we will be looking at now, market related, is competitive. In a market, there are, let's bring it down to say, um, we have the entire market, all right, and then we can break it down, segment the market into industries, and segment the industries into organizations. I hope that makes sense. The entire field is the market. The market is covered by different industries, and different industries have different organizations in them. Does that make any sense? Does that make sense? Is it clear what I've just said?
Sam, if you can clarify it a little bit.
I'm just trying to,
Can you come again, sir?
yeah, I want to explain something, but I have to just bring this up. I said the entire um consumer base, okay, the entire um 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 space of business is called the market. All right. So in that market, we have different consumers, all right, different consumers, different needs, different users, all in the market. So the entire field is called the market space. But then that market is broken down into different segments, which we call the industry. So we have the engineering industry, for instance. I'm sorry, I may not be very um, specific. The construction industry, the banking industry, the transport industry, okay, the logistics industry, and all of them. Now, when we break down the entire market, now all these industries are all in the market trying to engage with their various customers and consumers. All right. So the entire consumer base is called the market. Okay. Um, um, these consumers don't all need the same thing. Okay, they have different needs, they have different desires, they have different tastes. And that different needs, different desires, different tastes can be attended to by the industries in the market. Those that need crude oil, whether as end users or as consumers, all right, they're in the market and they'll be served by the oil industry, the oil sector. Those that need cars and need automobiles and all that, they're in the industry. I mean, they're in the market, but they'll be served by the automobile industry. Is it clear now? So in the entire market, we have industries, but all in these industries, we have organizations. We have in that automobile industry, we have Toyota, an organization. We have Volkswagen. I don't know if they're the same, an organization. We have which other one do we have?
Ford,
We have
Chevrolet.
Ford, an organization. Do you understand? So organizations make up industry and industries, make up the entire market, if that makes sense. Is it clearer now?
Very clear, sir.
Thank you. Now, because we have the entire market and then have industries in this market which house organizations, that is why there is always competition. If we look at the automobile industry, I said we have different automobile organizations. We mentioned Ford, Volkswagen, Toyota, and all that. They are all different automobile organizations in the automobile industry trying to, serve the market for automobiles. All of them are trying to get the attention for the automobile consumers. Okay. And so there is competition of, what share will I have as Toyota? What share of the market will I have as Ford? What share will I have? There is always going to be a competition. Now, the instigation of this competition is not owned by any organization. It is mostly driven by even the consumers. How much of the consumer's attention can you get? And how much of the consumer's attention do you even need, number one, to remain a going concern? How much of this attention and patronage do you need to remain a going concern, number one? Then how much of the share will you get at the end of the day? Those are the things you are beginning to respond to as an organization. So in your own very organization where you work, you will discover that your organization is working with many other organizations in the same industry, and all of you are clamoring for what? The attention of the consumers in that market, that industry. And because of that, there is going to be competition. Now, you must understand, as we on the side, that not all organizations within your industry is your competitor. Did anybody hear that? And does that make any sense? Not all organizations within the same industry as your own organization is your competitor. Does anybody agree with that? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or do you understand or do you not understand that statement? Not all organizations within your industry is your competitor.
I would say I don't really agree with that, because you are in the same
Industry.
industry, focusing on the same market,
Mhm.
and how to outshine each other to gain more customers to buy from you. So
Okay.
how would you be in competition with every other one in your industry?
Beautiful
to
question.
outshine them.
Beautiful. Beautiful question. I will answer that question now, but let me, yeah, John. No, we can't hear you. Can't hear you. We can't, the device is so noisy, we can't hear a single word. We don't even know what your voice looks like or sounds like, rather.
How about now?
Beautiful. Where were you before?
It's the environment.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can hear you now.
Yes, I just wanted to make a little contribution concerning you can be in the market and not every other organization in that market is your
In
competitor.
that industry.
In that industry is your competitor. For instance, now in the transport and logistics section, we also have another section that will be for fueling. So the section that is for vehicles may not really be competing with the one of fueling because they are complementing each other. That's the way I understand.
Yeah, you've taken it to another very good argument point, which is very fantastic. Now let me does anybody have anything to say before I address?
Yes, sir. Actually, initially, I wanted to follow the same thing with Mr. Abiola,
Yeah.
but I now thought of
But
it in automobile.
John has converted you now.
Yes, I now begin to see, brother, like automobile, as you mentioned, we have different categories of automobile. It could be maybe sport cars and all the rest, and the other organization is only for some specific kinds of car for particular set of clients or customers. So they will
John, please
leverage
mute
on their
yourself.
own part.
Please mute yourself, John. John, please mute yourself.
So, so for instance, a company that is working on Tacoma, these big cars, Hilos and all the rest. Another one is maybe assembling a different kind of car. So they will not be in the same, they are in the same industry, different organization, but they are not in the competition with one another. So because their own parts of automobile is different from the other. So I now get to understand.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it's a question that nobody's right and nobody's wrong. But then let's explain. Let me use some very good what John said about those making cars and those fueling. Yes, is good, but then want to look at only those making cars. Will every organization making cars be your competitor? If you're making cars, that's what we're looking at. And I think that's the position Abiola spoke from and said they must be your competitors because you're all making cars. But then let's leave, let's come, we'll get back to cars in you know in a moment. But let's start thinking from what I want to bring to you. We have football uh uh clubs. Africa countries, Nigeria has football clubs, African countries do have, other nations have, European countries have, and all that. Are we going to be able to say that Arsenal Football Club, Enyimba of Aba is in competition with Arsenal because they're both football clubs, they are in the football industry. Let's use them as football organizations in the football industry. Would that make them competitors? Is Enyimba of Aba a competitor to Arsenal Football Club? Can anyone answer?
They are not competitors to each other, but they are in the same industry.
Yeah, but they are not competitors. Okay. Now,
I want to add something, sir.
okay, please go on.
As they are not competitors, it can be based on the views that they are not in the, they are located at different regions.
Okay.
Like for if I say Arsenal and Birmingham City, they are both in England. They are competitors in the same league. But Arsenal and what's it called? Inter Miami in United States. As well, because their region is quite different from each other.
Now let's use the same region. Hold on. Let's use the same region. Um, 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 Arsenal and I don't know those many of those clubs. Can anybody tell me one club that is almost at the bottom of the league of the Premier?
Stoke City
I think Stoke
is
is
in the championship. So championship, Stoke City or Ipswich.
or Ipswich. Okay, Arsenal and Ipswich. Are they competitors, Abiola? They're in the same region, they're in the same league or the same whatever. Do you think they're competitors?
I
Why you laugh?
will,
Why they add laughter now?
because Ipswich is actually in the trend of he doesn't want to relegate. He's trying to stay in
So
the
are they
league.
competitors to you think it's Arsenal they want to beat the next day?
They are not competitors.
They are not. You know why? You know why I'm gradually bringing it coming from the question side is because we need to understand number one that if Ipswich thinks that Arsenal is their and they are planning and strategizing to beat Arsenal, they will just dig that they'll be digging their grave. Do you understand what I mean? Arsenal to Ipswich, Arsenal will be a what do we call this? There are some people who call best in class when we talk about uh, um, 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 benchmarking. When we talk about comparing with competitors, there's some people who call best in class. Do you understand? Best in class. To Ipswich, Arsenal should be best in class. Not that they cannot say they want to compete with them, but they should learn from them rather than compete with them. Do you agree, Abiola?
Yes, I agree with that, sir. I agree.
Yeah. That applies to every industry. It may be the same region or not. Do you know there was a time this very beautiful, very fine governor, I think it was Orji Uzor took his his state team to, is it Inter Milan or Arsenal, or does anybody remember?
I think it was late Ifeanyi Uba who took them to Aston Villa in England. They had a for pre-season training.
Okay, and then they were beating 7-1 or 7-0 or something in their, I think I think there was a time. Well, if you say I don't know who the governor is, but I think they faced a very big club when they went for their preseason, and then they were beaten. But they were not. There was no shame to it. There was no iota or atom of shame to it. It was even prestige and exposure for them. Why would it be so? Because they were not going to face their competitors. They were not facing their competitors. They were facing those they could see as best in class in the industry. Does that make sense, Abiola?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. It makes sense.
But if they were taken to Ibadan to meet shooting stars, I don't know if shooting stars still existing. If they were taken to Ibadan to now in their preseason to face shooting and they got 7-0 whooping, they'll put their heads down because that's a competitor to them. In short, shooting stars is not even up as rated. I don't know. I'm sorry. I may be saying something wrong, but I don't think shooting star is even as rated as Enyimba because these are people that have even won almost some of the continental leagues in Africa. Do you understand? So
Yes.
Go
That's
on.
true, sir.
Yeah. So not it's just like I don't know how many of you know EPS. EPS, Ekesim Parcel Service, or maybe it will be Chisco, all these buses, all these transport companies that do parcel service by the side. And you say they are competitors to DHL or FedEx. They are not competitors. They are not competitors. They are in the same parcel service industry, the same third-party logistics industry, but they're not. So one thing that you should know is, yes, we belong to the same industry, but not everyone in your industry is your. There are some people in your industry you should be studying and learning from, while there are those you are competing against. They are two different things. When you learn so much from the ones you're learning from, it strengthens your competitive fight. You are able to relegate and grow in competition to face bigger opponents until you reach where those people are. But before then, you cannot take them as competitors. I hope this is clear. I hope Collins and John, you understand where we're going to now about this. But that's just I just brought that for us to um have something to talk about or argue about. But please, if you still have something against what I've said, bring it up. Now, there are things every organization in the industry has those it is competing against. Okay. And when you're winning in a competition, you're having what we call competitive advantage. Now, by the time you get to your advanced class, we'll be learning about sustainable competitive advantage. But for now, we're just going to look at this competitive advantage in itself. Before we look at it, let's go on with the competitive advantage thing. Then I'll come back to the market structure. I think I saw it somewhere. Sorry, I'm coming back. I'll come all back to yes. Good. Because we've talked about competitive, I'll take you through this sustainable competitive advantage, and then we'll be now. We have just talked about or described what competitive advantage is. Having an edge, okay, over it could be profit edge. All right, and mostly it's all usually profit edge, having more market share and all that over those that are in the same industry with you, or over those that you have classified that are in the same level in the industry with you. Not everybody, not every organization will be in the same level. Like I said, there are some you have to learn from, you study, learn, try to know the secrets and how they do things, while there are others who are in the same level, you must keep, beating them when it comes to the competition. Now, when we say sustainable competitive advantage is being able to maintain that advantage, that first position, so to say, in quote, being able to maintain that first position over a long time. That's sustainability. Okay, sustainability is about making it keeping a prolonged survival or prolonged advantage position over the competition. All right. Now there are some things. Now look at Porter's 5 forces of uh uh sustainable uh competitive advantage. There are 5 forces that Porter mentioned. Okay, that's uh uh forms a strategy, all right, on how to maintain competitive advantage. So when you hear of Porter's 5 forces, please understand you should be able to even draw this diagram. You should be able to put this diagram up in your head because it could be required of you. Now look at the industry and the competitor rivalry at the middle. That's where the industry is. I remember industry is made up of different organizations. That's where the competitive rivalry is. And look at the arrows around it. The first one we are looking at is threat of new entrants. Threats of new entrants. Now, for every industry, remember, the more organizations come into an industry, the more competitors an organization will have. For instance, if you are the only one in an industry, no competitor. If one person enters that industry, you now have one competitor. If a second person enters, you now have two competitors. If a third organization enters, you now have three competitors. If a fourth enters, you now have four competitors. Now, depending on what we say competitors are, understand, like I said, not every organization in the industry is your competitor. Please take note. And I think that is very clear. But like I said, it's up for debates, and if we still have more illustrations, that we can talk about. So the one thing that can bring rivalry in the industry is when there are new entrants. And that's why some industries have made it very difficult for people to come into the industry. Is it clear now? Because of these threats of new entrants, some industries have made it difficult for organizations to come in, to come into the industry, because every new entrant into an industry poses a threat. So the more you can limit the entrants, okay, into the industry, the more comfortable you are as an organization. Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? Do we understand?
Yes.
So the degree of competition in the market, in the industry. Yo, we can't hear you if you're saying anything.
Yeah, I wanted you to like come again. I didn't get it.
Okay. I want to explain a different way now. The degree, okay, to which there are new entrants coming into the industry, okay, is the degree, it determines the level of competition in that industry. Like I mentioned, if your organization is the only one in the industry, then you are free. It's even called monopoly. Formerly, we had only NEPA, all right? And I don't know about cement. I know we've had Lafarge and all that for a long time, but I think at some point, one person was leading in that, the one name was known in that industry before all that started springing up. I don't know how far they've been there. But what we're saying is, according to Porter, okay, the more the new entrants into the industry, the higher the level of competition. Does that make sense? Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So if you are the only one in the industry, no shaking. If one person come, you only have one to compete with. One organization enters that industry, you only have one. If another one enters, you have two. If 10 enters, you have 12. If 50 enter, you have 50. And you understand that the more they enter, the higher the level of competition. That's one. So some other organizations have gone, some industries have it in a way they regulate entrants. They regulate people that enter, thereby regulating the level of competition within the industry. Another thing is the bargaining power. If you look at the next state there, bargaining power of buyers. Bargaining power of buyers. Now, the bargaining power of buyers will always have effect on the competition. okay, on the competition within the market. Because now, if it was only you, the buyers will not have so much choice to bargain, so much power to bargain. Am I correct? If we have just one organization in the industry, the buyer's bargaining power is limited. They don't have any choice. Does that make sense? Is that correct?
Yes, sir, it's correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
But then the more the organizations within the industry, the more the bargaining power of buyers increases. If they ask you and you're not ready to tell them or give them what they want, they move over to the next organization, move over until they get to where they feel they are okay and comfortable, to do business. So the more the bargaining power of buyers, okay, the more the level of competition. All right. Now, the next one is the threat of substitute products. Well, that's almost the same as new entrants. The threat of substitute products. If your products are highly substitutable, okay, if the products of the organizations in the industry, if any organization's product is highly substitutable, then that organization is up for more competition. What do I mean? If you're producing peak milk and you're selling at 270 or 400 naira for a tin of peak milk, and then which other milk do we have? Is it Dano or Cowbell?
Crown milk. Crown milk.
3
Crown
What is
crowns.
that?
Crown. Crown,
Three crowns.
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
3 crowns. If 3 crowns is selling for 300, you understand? I'm going to go, if I try 3 crowns and I see that it's very much okay, just like the peak milk I used to drink, I can move to 3 crowns. So as long as your products are substitutable, then you are in for a higher level of competition. You should do more with your product for people not to go and visit or use the substitutes. I hope that is clear. And then we have bargaining power of suppliers. No matter what the organization is, most of the time they have inputs from suppliers, and then they have sales they make to buyers. All right. So if you are the only one, if the suppliers see that you are the only one they can sell their materials to, then definitely your competition is low, because whether they like it or not, it's either they keep their materials to rot or sell to you. But then if they see that there are other organizations within the market that they can also sell materials to as suppliers, then your competition increases. So the more the organizations in the industry, the higher the bargaining power of suppliers. Is it clear now? And then the higher the competition. So this is what Porter's 5 forces is about. Okay, so it is Porter's 5 forces to determine level of competition. Threat of new entrants. The more the entrants into the industry, the higher the competition. The more the number of organizations, the higher the bargaining power of buyers, and then the more the competition. Same thing with the bargaining power of suppliers, and then same thing with the threats of substitute products. Do we understand, or is there a question? Remember, we're still looking at sustainable competitive advantage. All right. I want to look at that before we then go back to where we stopped earlier. Now, uh, according to grants in 1998, competitive advantage should be obtained through the analysis and development of the organization's internal environment. I remember when Collins was talking about trying to adjust the internal environment in order to be able to respond appropriately to the external environment. Is it clear? Now, one thing we're saying is that in the internal environment, the internal environmental elements and the external environmental elements, which one should help you better when it comes to having competitive advantage? Which one do you think you can control more to have competitive
Internal.
advantage? Is the internal. That's what Grant is also saying. Is the internal. You can control more the internal environment, regulate the internal elements in order to make yourself very, very well positioned rather to compete in the market. Is it clear now? Okay. Now there are three categories, okay, of organizations resources. Three categories of organizations resources. Now, from our own purview, we know there are different types of organizational resources, but we're categorizing them under this PDO1 under three categories: tangible, intangible, and human. Tangible, intangible, and human. We are bringing them back to competition. Just watch. Now, tangible, all the physical aspects, such as the buildings, the equipment, tangible, what you can touch, all right, and all that, cash at hand and all that, and bank and all that, financial aspects, tangible elements of the tangible resources or category of resources of the business. The next one is the intangible, and that includes all the you know, all the positives for a business that you cannot touch. Okay, like the technology, you cannot touch it. Uh, Reputation and all that, culture. Then we have humans. We have humans and everything they carry. Human beings have knowledge. They do things. They can do things effectively. They communicate and all that. So these three categories are the ones we say resources are organizational resources are categorized under these three for every organization. But then we must understand that these resources must be put into appropriate use according to the capability of the organization. Remember, we are talking about competitive advantage, and we're going there. We're going to see some more things under competitive advantage. Is there a question? All right. Now, Grant described organizational capabilities, okay, as the firm's capacity for undertaking a particular productive activity. And many organizations fail because they try to do business in areas they do not have the capability or the capacity to do business. I was listening to Aliko Dangote, and was saying that if you want to get into a business, you must understand the nitty-gritty of that business. He said, as he is now, nobody can wake him up today. If you wake him up today and ask him anything about fertilizers, he will tell you that's his business. Now he has gotten into oil now, and I'm sure he will, from what he was saying, you should know the nitty-gritty you should have capability and capacity to do what you're doing before you even delve into it. And while you're in it, you should still build more capacity, build the capability of the organization to continually, find itself formidable in such business? What are we saying? Can there be competitive? Can any organization have competitive advantage without having the know-how of the business they are into? The answer is no. In short, the ones that know will always be leading the ones that are guessworking. Let's guess. So with all the resources available to an organization, if they don't have the capability, they will not be able to seize, uh, 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 an advantage over the competition in the industry. So what are we then saying? Proper resources plus fine or proper capabilities will then earn competitive advantage. But please know what these resources are categorized as: tangible, intangible, and human. And know what organizational capabilities are. It is, when a firm's capacity for undertaking a particular productive, um, uh, or it refers to a firm's capacity for undertaking a particular productive activity. Now, there's somebody else that mentioned something about competitive advantage. Now, the diagram you're looking at now is how to entrench or how to ensure competitive advantage. Okay. Now, we are saying here, or from this diagram, we're going to be pointing out three ways to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. Three ways to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. And the three ways are: number one, minimize durability. Number two, maximize durability, I should say, maximize durability. Number two, minimize transferability. And number three, minimize replicability. Now, normally, I mentioned it that way because you're seeing the diagram on that slide. But then it was still according to Grant said, for you to be able to have sustainable advantage in the market, there are three factors, and the factors are durability, transferability, and replicability. But then the summary is that for durability, what you should do as an organization is maximize. I will explain what it is. But for durability, what you should do as an organization is maximize durability. For transferability, what you should do as an organization, your decision should be minimize transferability. When I explain them, you will understand why one is saying maximize and the other two says minimize. And for replicability, the action is to minimize replicability. Then let's take them one after the other. What is durability? If you look, or if you think, the normal English word for being durable is to last long. To last long. So durability is the ability for organizations to last long in the market. There are organizations that are over 100 years old today in the market. There are some that are over 50 years old in the market. And I'm sure when you're talking about investing, those are the organizations you're looking at, because they've gone beyond organizations that can possibly die. So organizations are over 20, 25 years old. So durability is last long. Now, Why should you last longer? And why is that a tool, a factor to earn sustainable competitive advantage? Staying long in the market makes you understand the market so well and know how you can possibly, compete and take advantage of competition. I read something about Coca-Cola. I don't know how correct, like it's a long time I read that, but I read that in their first year, when they started, in their first year, they sold, if I'm not mistaken, I stand to be corrected, they sold 13 bottles of Coca-Cola in the entire first year. 13 bottles of Coca-Cola. I hope somebody's listening to me. When I try to analyze that jokingly out of the books, I just told myself, oh, maybe they sold two bottles per month. And at the month they really prayed, they sold 3 bottles. Did I say 13? 25, I think it's 25 bottles. Is that 13 or 25 bottles? I know I used to say two bottles per month, and then any month they prayed where they sold 3 bottles. So 25 bottles of Coca-Cola in 1 year. But that did not make them feel, oh, this may not be the right business for us. Let's get out of this business and let's get out of this industry. They remained in the industry. I don't know if any of you can quickly Google today how many bottles of Coca-Cola is sold worldwide per day. Can anybody give us that information? How many bottles of Coca-Cola is sold per day? Any information on that worldwide? Is anybody checking? Is anybody checking? Please Google.
It's 1 point. They said the Coca-Cola company sells over 1.9 billion servings of its drinks worldwide each day. 1.9 billion.
1.9 billion. We don't know if that's bottles or the naira or or the money, but fine.
In more than 200 countries each day.
Each day. But when they started, they struggled to sell 25 bottles in a year. Today they sell 1 what billion?
1.9 billion.
1.9, almost 2 billion every day. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? It tells you that the longer you stay in the market, the better you will become. Some of us have started our own private companies and we feel the stress is too much. There's no even gain. Stay in the market. If you had a clear vision when you started that thing, stay right there. I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying keep nursing your company. All right? Keep nursing it. The longer you stay, your durability will determine your ability to take advantage of the competition. Do we understand? So, and that is why if you come down to the diagram, Grant says maximize durability. Stay in that market, build your brand, build a reputation, okay? Understand how your product applies to the market and the advantages you can get. Build your brand. It takes time to build brand. Yeah, Franklin says sustainability is key. I agree. Now, it takes time to build your brand. It takes years build that brand. I used to tell people that People used to say, what is worth doing? What is worth doing is worth doing well. But I used to say, what is worth doing is worth doing badly at the beginning. So take note of that. What is worth doing is worth doing poorly at the beginning or badly at the beginning. 25 bottles in 1 year seem like a failure, but 1.9 billion in a day, that one can wake up the dead in 1 day. In 1 day. So please take note. If you're doing anything now, as long as you feel it is worth doing, don't worry if you're doing it badly. Keep at it, it will improve. Number 2 is transferability. We're looking at the 3 factors that can lead to what? Sustainability or sustainable competitive advantage, according to Grant 1998. Number 2 is transferability. Transferability is the ease with which people can transfer your trade secrets to other organizations. The ease with which your trade secrets can be transferred is what we call transferability. Sorry about that. Now, listen to the definition and then you will now understand why you should minimize. Transferability is the ease with which an organization's trade secrets are transferred to other organizations. That is, okay? If you have an organization and your trade secrets, it's easy for people to transfer your trade secrets. Everybody knows your trade secret and then they can transfer it to use it to work and make things work for other organization, then you may be out of business in no time. That's why we say minimize transferability. Make it difficult for people to be able to steal your brand secrets, your trade secrets, the secrets behind your brand, the secret behind your uniqueness. Make it difficult for people to be able to steal those things and sell to other organizations. To some organizations, sometimes you hear, before you become a top management in this organization, it's like a cult. It will always be like a cult. Because at that level, there are some things that not anyhow person cannot, there's some information that not anyhow person can have access to, or else you will kill them. If you get into that level and you can be bought by money, you will sell their trade secrets. If you get into that level and you can be swayed, you can easily feel, I am aggrieved, I'm leaving. And if you're like that, you can easily transfer their uniqueness, what the secret of their uniqueness, secret of their brand to other organizations. So not everybody can get there. Some organizations, they even want to say, okay, take an oath. For you to enter into this cadre, take an oath, because they fear for people not to come in there and this type. Because once those secrets go out, imagine you have a unique taste like Coca-Cola. If you are used to taking these soft drinks, you would notice that Coca-Cola has a unique taste compared to other cola. There is something they are using, there's something they are doing. And many other organizations, see DHL. I think DHL, they even have their planes and all that for their own third-party parcel deliveries and all that. You understand? And then you want to look at, there's a secret behind their success. There's a secret behind their brand. Not everybody can access it. If not, if everybody can access it, then every other company would have used it to, get up to their level and beat them to the game. So minimize how easy it is for people to what? To be able to lay hold on your trade secret, your brand secret, the secret of your uniqueness and all that, and sell to other people. Does that make sense? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. It's
Very
clear,
clear,
sir.
sir.
The third one is replicability. Replicability is just like counterfeiting, making a counterfeit. It may not be fake. Sorry, I don't, it may not be making a fake. It may still be making an original, but that is exactly like yours. Making a product, reproducing an exact product like your own. Once people can make your exact product, then you'll soon be out of the market. Recently, I didn't pay attention, but I think I saw the news and I saw a response, so I felt a bit interested. Recently, there's this Nigerian movie actor and producer and all that accused the Ghana um um is it movie industry, I don't know, or Ghana, whatever entertainment industry, of reproducing our work, without permission, copyright issues. And she was saying,
Haitian. I think a Haitian
you said what?
sued the Burna Boy. Is it the Haitian musician that sued the Burna Boy?
Oh, for
And
copyright
Burna,
issues.
yes.
Yes. But there's this lady in Nigeria that was accusing Ghanaians too for the same thing. And she was saying you can be caught, you can be arrested, you can be traced and all that. What are we saying? Once they can reproduce your work, then you could be out of the market. You could be out of the market once your work can be reproduced. So that replicability is like reproduction of your products. And that's why Grant is saying minimize how easy it is for people to reproduce your product. You can minimize it legally by registering your patent, making sure that you have your copyright. Why that lady was talking about Ghana and all that, she had a copyright, she would have a copyright, whatever, in her favor and all that. Why Burna Boy can be sued is because the person that has maybe the original will have a copyright in his favor. So anyhow you want to do to make sure that it is not your brand secrets and your product uniqueness and all that are not easily transferable, do it. The more you keep those things to yourself, the more you win in the market. But if they are easily taken away from you, you'll be out of the market soon. The same thing with replicability. The more you can keep off reproducers of your product, the better for the organization. So maximize durability, minimize transferability, minimize replicability. Is that clear, please? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. It is clear, sir.
Are there questions? Any question? So we've just concluded things about competitive advantage. So I think that's fine for us. Any question for that, please? Okay. Now, before we go on our break, market structures. We're still looking at remember, we're looking at the external business environment, external organization dynamics, right? And we came all the way from there, got to competitive advantage, and I had to discuss everything on that competitive advantage and also sustainable competitive advantage. How we looked at the Potter's 5 forces, and then we went to grant, and we saw from grant how to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. Okay, using those 3 forces, durability, and all that factors rather. Now, market structures. I believe we all have heard of market structures before, and I'm going to have you do um, a kind of assignment under the market structures. What are the market structures we have? Does anyone remember? I'll give you one, and that's the one you can even see there. Monopoly. Outside monopoly, what are the other market structures we have? Does anybody remember? Monopoly is there. That is when uh, there is one supplier and then serving the entire consumers. Monopoly. All right. What other market structures do we have?
Oligopoly.
Oligopoly, yes. Where the market is um uh where the market is dominated by large organizations. Okay, like you have, let's take for instance the beverage organization, beverages. All right. I mean the beverage market. And you discover that in the beverage market you only have Bonvita, and I mean you only have Cadbury and Nestle dominating the beverage market. You just keep hearing Bonvita and Milo, Bonvita and Milo. In short, we have changed the name of beverage. We've changed it now to I don't know what they call it, if it's beverage or tea or what a beverage. We've changed it now to Bonvita and Milo. So when you have a few big organizations, large organizations dominating the entire market, even if there are smaller organizations there, but they are being dominated by large organizations, a few large organizations, that is what we call oligopoly. Okay, so we have monopoly, we have oligopoly. Which other ones do we have? So there, I'm going to be handing you your assignment. Please take note. Give me the various market structures or types of market structures that we have. Okay. And then please give me characteristics, at least 5 characteristics of each of them. 5 characteristics of each of the markets under market structure. Do we understand? Please take note. Like I do say, write your assignment. It should be handwritten, not typed. I don't want it typed. It should be handwritten, and then you can send to me. You can send to my WhatsApp. You can also send to um my email. All right. Let's go on. There are at least there are about 6 of them at least, and there could be more. Please
So
check.
the number for the WhatsApp once again, sir.
I cannot write here. I'll drop it in the group chat now. That's the number for WhatsApp. Please, you can only WhatsApp me. WhatsApp me on that number. I'm trying to put my email down. That's my email. So you can WhatsApp, you can send please don't just snap and just send to my WhatsApp and leave it there. Please tell me who you are and where you are from. All right. And then I can attend to whatever you have sent. And if it's my email, also tell me who you are, where you're from. I don't mean your village. A simple introduction. This is who I am. This is my name, and I am from the SmartPro International Diploma class. And then here's my assignment is fine, and I'll be able to attend to it. Market structure. About 6 market structures, and then each should have not less than 5 characteristics. Please do the assignment. Now let's look at another thing. Another thing that is closely linked with market is marketing. What is marketing? People have confused the word marketing to mean different things. And the most confusing of all is when they make it mean sales. You see all those coming to sell clipper in your office, to sell bag, to sell grinding machine or blenders, and to sell one thing or the other, maybe drugs, supplements. And when you say, what are you doing? They say they are marketers. They say they are marketers. Well, we always humbly tell them, you are sellers, not marketers. That is if we get into some familiar discussions, because people that you are not familiar with, you can't just tell them you are sellers. They will feel offended. But then we want to know the difference between marketing and selling today as we go on. And I hope I'm able to quickly breeze through before we go on break. Now, what is marketing? Please take note. Like I said, we're not recording this class. It is good for you to jot. And that's why I'm even using your material. At least when you go through it, will become easy for you to link things up. Marketing, okay, from what you see in your material, is the management process that is responsible for matching resources with opportunities at a profit by identifying, anticipating, influencing, and satisfying customer demand. Yes, that's marketing. I'll give you another definition, which is exactly the same, but just coined differently. Marketing is the research into, let me not even go with the research. Please, let's go with this. Marketing is the identification of consumer needs, the identification of consumer needs, and the onward satisfaction of such needs through a profitable exchange process. Marketing is the identification of consumer needs and the onward satisfaction of such needs through a profitable exchange process. So marketing is usually about research. To find out the needs of the market or of consumers, you have to make certain research. You have to ask certain questions. You have to get certain information from them that you will take back to your organization. And your organization will translate those, pieces of information and send them to production and to design. And they're able to design products that fit those descriptions, those pieces of information. And then they're able to, from design, go into production and produce a set of what they feel these people have requested, and then take it back to them to ask them, is this what you really requested? And they say, oh yes, bravo, this is what we requested. And then you now take it back to the company again, to the production site again, for multiple production marketing. It is the research into consumer needs, the research that helps to identify consumer needs, and then to onward, and moving from identification to satisfying them through a profitable exchange process. Now, you don't satisfy consumer needs until the goods eventually get bought by the consumers and used by them. Until the products or the services eventually get bought and used by the consumers, you've not satisfied their needs. So the first is identify their needs. Do so many things that make you create what they need, and then sell back to them as they buy and use. Then that is where satisfaction comes. And while they are getting satisfaction, the company is getting value for each service. Money is coming into the organization, and that's value. So coming to say, this phone is very good, oh, this phone is very fine, oh, is this and that, oh, you should buy the phone, oh, it's just selling. What then is selling? Selling is the act, okay, of trying to make people buy what the organization has in stock. Selling is not creating new product. It's not seeking what you want. It is trying to make you buy what the organization has. Does it make sense, please? Is it clear? Are we still there?
Yes, sir.
It's clear, sir.
Once the class starts becoming boring, let me know. All right, and I'll stop.
Sir, can I put it this way? Is marketing is like customizing products and services according to the need of the end consumers at a profitable exchange.
Yeah, you can,
Or
but if you put customizing, then you're going into another field of production.
Oh.
If you say customizing, you can't customize things for every consumer.
Okay.
Yeah, you can customize for a few that want specially made water. So that's why that word customize is there. But creating, okay. So when you talk about marketing, two things must happen. You must first of all identify their needs, and then create what they need, and then sell back to them. It is when they buy there is profit, because you can't sell at your cost price. You have to sell at the selling price, which is cost plus markup. So that's when profit comes. But then the first two things, the major thing about marketing is identifying the needs of consumers, and then going all the way to make sure you satisfy their needs. Now, how did marketing come into being? Marketing came after people started having high purchasing power. We're talking about the factors that influence demand earlier, and it was you, Collins, that mentioned per capita income. The more the income of the people, the more they can choose what they want. Before the income of persons, of the per capita income start making sense, especially in the world or in the country, we usually have what we call the producers market. What does that mean? Producers or suppliers market. What does it mean? It means it is anything the producers make that you buy, because that's what your money can buy. So the producers go to make things en mass. They make product en mass. They call these things ladies call mass production. Say, I wear shirts. I just say my fine shirt I wear as I enter Okada and the same material now the Okada man wear. Say, God forbid, I no go wear this shirt again. You see ladies make some kind of, even some guys make some kind of comments like that. They feel this is special. I'm wearing this shirt for a special occasion. And unfortunately, they wear it, get on a taxi, and the Uber driver is wearing the same material or the same shirt. This one a mass production, sha. Like say me and this guy they go assembly for they go school, they go do assembly, like say a uniform we wear. Say I will not wear this thing again. What producers did back then was to produce en masse. And what producing en masse meant was it was going to reduce the price. Okay. And because the people didn't have enough money to make choices, they only buy or bought what they saw in the market that they can afford, which is the essence of the reduced price. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
But when the per capita income of people, when the purchasing power of people started increasing, when people started making money, then it they started knowing that they could, well, I could do away with. I don't need to buy this. I have more money now. I can go and buy something else. So when suppliers and producers, rather, most producers, when they began to see that people, because of money entering into people's hands, people can now make choices. People can now choose what they want to buy. And they were running at a loss because with their mass production, nobody's buying. Many people are not buying because they now have more money to go and buy what they want. They now decide to understand the fact that the power has shifted from their hands, which are producers, to the hands of those that have the money, which are the consumers. That's where the word came from, being customer is king. Power moved from the hands of the producers, where it was producers' market. Today, it is now the consumers' market. Power moved to the consumers because they now have the money. And so producers are now forced to go and ask these consumers that have the money, what do you need? Marketing. Identify what they need. And they tell you what they need. We want a drink that doesn't have too much sugar, can be a bit sour, and all that and all that. And then you go with that information to your office, go to design something like that, think through, produce, bring back to the consumers. Is this what you need? They taste it. Mm, yeah, but I still feel the sugar is too much because it can be damaging to my parents' health because I'm looking at for elderly people. So fine, okay, and then you give to one or two elderly people. They feel, oh, the sugar is too much. This is going to be damaging to my health, and you go back, you redo again. Make sure there's not so much sugar. The sour taste is higher. People are calling you, go take it back. Is this what you need now? I don't know how many of you have ever entered a shop. If you've entered a shop or a mall and you are given free drink, just taste and fill a form. Has anybody seen that before? Just take this cup of drink and then fill this form. How did you see it? Has that happened to any of us before? It could be before this era of this current administration. In former administrations, have you ever been asked to taste anything and then give a feedback or something like that?
Yes.
You mean a kind of survey, sir?
What I mean is, you were given a drink
Okay.
or a product to use, something like a drink, and then you have to complete a form to say what you feel about it.
I can remember back then, sir, it was the first time of introducing this Indomie, what's it called? Indomie pepper soup.
Mhm.
I was still in the north then. It happened, yeah.
Good. Now, You'll be given what they are doing is just to say, this is what consumers asked from us. We have brought it back. Is this what you really asked? Or have we missed any detail? By the time you eat or taste the drink and you complete the form, nice. Now maybe you get 100% nice, perfect, nice, perfect. They will now go back and say, yes, we got it right, and produce en masse. Because they know once they push that to the market, all of you will buy, everybody will buy. This is exactly what they needed or they asked for. So you can see how power moved from the producer's hands to the consumer's hands in the market. And that was what gave birth to marketing. And that's why we need to identify the needs of the consumers before we begin production. And I've differentiated that from selling. Selling is just about making sure that whatever the company has is sold out, is bought by consumers. We don't need to know what you need or not. Try and buy our own, it is good. This one can solve, can heal HIV, can heal headache, malaria, typhoid, poverty, can raise the dead. One thing can do, don't worry, anything you think is your problem, just buy it. That's sellers. Marketers try to identify what you need and then go ahead to create a product or service that will satisfy what you need. So I believe with that, we can differentiate between sales and marketing. If you go to your page 45, you will see the difference between sales and marketing. Take notes, please note it down, page 45. Check the difference between sales and marketing. I've given you an overview. All right. Check the difference between sales and marketing. Quickly, let's finally, before we discuss the next thing to do, let's look at marketing mix. Marketing mix. Now, what do we mean by marketing mix? What do we mean by marketing mix? I call them also, I explain marketing mix by saying that there are elements, okay, available to a marketer or an organization. Let's use an organization. These are elements available to an organization, okay, that can be manipulated in order to win the market, over to themselves. Remember, I said there are elements, there are marketing elements available to an organization that can be manipulated in different ways in order to catch the attention of the market. Marketing mix are marketing elements available, okay, to an organization which are highly manipulative or which can be highly manipulated to win the attention of the market. That's what we call marketing mix. I've said that thing about 2-3 times. I expect that those that are jotting would have gotten it. Marketing elements available to an organization which can be manipulated to win the attention of the market. Now, traditionally, the marketing mix we have are the 4 Ps. But today, there are 7 Ps. Remember, I said traditionally there are 4 Ps: product, price, place, promotion, and place. Product, price, promotion, and place. Those are the 4 Ps traditionally when we talk about marketing mix. 4 Ps. Remember, there are marketing elements that can be manipulated to win the attention of the market, to win the attention of consumers. I'll explain, but don't forget this definition because it gives you a clarity when we begin to talk. And this is how I like you to answer your questions in the exams. Try to put a definition to something and then put an explanation to it before you then go ahead and conclude. Traditionally, there are 4 P's: product, price, place, and promotion, or product, price, promotion, and place. But now there are 7 P's because we have added 3 other P's to it. Okay. And the ones we have added are people, processes, and physical evidences to make it 7. So we have product, price, promotion, place, people, processes, and physical evidences or physical evidence. I hope somebody's following me.
Yes,
Now,
I will.
thank you. Now, what is a product? I will describe a product as anything tangible or intangible that is created to solve a particular need or to meet a particular need. Product is anything tangible or intangible that is created to solve a particular need. What does that mean? A product is anything tangible. Tangible is what you can touch: your phone, your laptop, your car, the bottle. Product is anything tangible, your wristwatch, that you can touch. Okay, tangible. Or intangible, a service, a taxi ride, haircut, a repair. They are all services. So whether it is something created that is something you can touch, or something created that is something you can feel that you have been served, they are all called products. Does that make sense? Is it clear, please?
Sir, can you come again with the definition of product, please?
I said a product is anything tangible or intangible created to solve a particular need. Anything that's created to solve a particular need is a product, and it can be tangible or intangible. Tangible are the things we can touch: your laptop, your shirt, your shoes, your wristwatch, your car. Tangible. Intangible, a service, a banking service, a taxi ride, a repair service, an haircut, whatever service, teaching, like I'm doing now. You cannot touch this teaching. You can't touch it, but I'm giving you a service, and that's a product in itself. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you look at your material, you see that you can group product into 3 different groups, 3 different distinct groups. An innovative product, the one that is just completely new to the market; an adaptive product, the one that can be modified in some ways to suit other purposes; and an imitate product, one that follows, what people have done before. Okay. Now, whether it is tangible or intangible, they can fall to these categories. All right. Innovative, there can be innovative services, and they can be innovative items. So we can have products, innovative, both tangible and intangible; adaptive, both tangible and intangible; and then imitative, both tangible and intangible. Okay. Now, what is price? Okay, now, before we leave product, Remember we said that this marketing mix are elements that can be manipulated to win the market. That manipulated, the manipulative there is not the bad one, it's a good one, it's a positive one. Now, how do we manipulate products to win the attention of the market? Number one, you can use size. You know, some people love products that are very brief, small. Some love them very, very big. My mom used to love products that are very small, small and beautiful. Everything she wants to buy is small. If she wants to buy a TV set, small. My daddy would say, how many people want to watch this small TV? When you are buying things, consider that you have a community around you that can also share in the use. Why do you want to buy things that it's only you that can use? You don't want other people to share. So my daddy wants to buy things, he buys the biggest size in the market, whatever he sees. That's what I noticed when I was growing up. So you see him buying a car, massive one, a freezer in the house, massive, TV, massive, everything massive. But the woman, small, small, small. So what do marketers do in this case? They ensure that if their market likes the shape, small size products, they make it small. If it's big size, they make it big. They can manipulate the size of the product. They can also manipulate the colors of the product. There's some places that may not have anything to do with red. They worship red, or red is the symbol of their god or symbol of their traditional artifact that they hold so dear, in royalty. And so in such places, they don't want to see red. Nobody uses red product. It's forbidden. So if you have a red pouch, nobody buys red pouch for their phones. Nobody buys red bags. Nobody buys red shoes. What will the marketer do? What would the organization do in that case? They make sure they don't produce anything red. All the colors they produce for that particular segment of the market, for that particular consumer group or set, they produce other colors that they can, easily, relate with and buy. Because if they produce red and send to that place, they will not make any sale. Products can be manipulative to size, to color, to aesthetics. Yes, these people, they love biros, pens, but then the pen that has light on top of it, or a pen that has an eraser. We don't erase pen. You can erase pencil, but then you now see a pen that has an eraser that you are writing with your pen, and then you make a mistake, you can erase and it cleans off that particular. Wow, you say, wow, you can manipulate products. You can manipulate products. Formerly, your TV, you have to press this and press that and hit it bam for it to work. Now you use remotes. Today, I see my boy sometimes, he's talking, and I'm looking at him. Who are you talking to? Because it's just both of us sitting here. Oh, I'm talking to the remote. It tells the remote what to do. It brings up the program on the TV. It tells the remote what to do. It brings up. I've not done that before. I don't even think I want to do that. But we all know when they say Siri, do this, Siri, do that, he talks to remotes. Sometimes he talks to his phone. He goes to Google, draws something on whatever, and talks, and it says what he wants, and then he brings up on Google. And I'm wondering, yes, people say it is whatever. Yeah, but we're seeing different aesthetics, different functionalities that you can put on a product to catch the market. Products can be manipulated in order to win the market. Does it make sense? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
The same thing we go. The next P is price. I will not finish all because of our time. The next P is price. What is price? I describe price as the amount, okay? Uh, the amount that a product is exchanged for, okay? A product or a service, the amount that a product or a service is exchanged for is what I call price. Usually, that exchange is usually the cost of production plus the markup that makes the price. So in every price, there is the cost of making that product or creating that service and the markup, the profit element of that the seller wants to make. They are all together for you to say price. So the amount that a product or a service exchanges for is what I call price. Price can be manipulated also. I can go to the Malam Nest, outside, and I buy Indomie, or let me say I buy bottled water for 100 naira. But if I walk just another 5 minutes into the Adide shop or any of these big whatever, I can see that bottled water for 99 naira 99 kobo. What is Adide trying to tell me? I hope you know what Adide is. Is it Adide they call it, one of these outlets? Have you heard that name before?
Yes. I pronounce ARDD too.
Good, thank you. I'm trying to think if I'm getting the name correctly because it's been a long time. Now, what are they trying to tell me? They're trying to tell me what I got for 100 naira, I can get it cheaper, even if it's a 1 kobo or 10 kobo cheaper. Price can manipulate pricing. Okay, so I'm buying this for 100 naira, I'm buying it for 99 naira. If I buy 10 bottles here, it will be 1,000 naira. If I buy 10 bottles there, it will be 1,000 less, maybe 10 naira. I don't know if you understand. There's a sense of being cheaper here than here. And it's the same bottled water, it's the same producer, just manipulating pricing to make people feel that you can come and buy from us. Another thing about pricing is that some producers get into the market with very low prices. And people will now be rushing to buy. When people have bought their things and they are used to buying their things, they begin to increase the price little by little, little by little. That was how cowbell, 3 crowns almost came to become the same price with peak milk. They came in very low price when 3 crowns, when peak milk was up there, thinking is the only one that is known and all that. 3 crowns came in very low price. People started buying 3 crowns, so it was still the same rich, creamy milk. Before 3 crowns started increasing their price till it almost becomes same as peak milk. And then cowbell came with the mentality of masses. Cowbell, our milk. And then they speak pidgin in their advertisements and use pidgin to show that they have the masses, and then they have it in sachet, and then people start buying cowbell. Cowbell too start increasing their price little by little, little by little, little by little. Price can be manipulated. I believe you understand this lesson, and I believe you understand my explanations. Is it clear, please? Is it clear?
Question, sir.
Please go on.
Sir, from the explanation of price being manipulated in order to get the attention of the people to buy this product, isn't that also in some aspect of the sales, how will I put it? The salesman, what we categorize as like salesman, which is different from marketing. Because the salesman as well can also give some competitive things to get the product to the end user, and which also marketer can also go in some kind of competitions from various ranges and things like the pricing, the product, and other things to get to the consumers. Isn't that in the same categories of?
Well, if I understand your question well, uh, I'll be saying this, or I'll be saying two things. Number one, even with all these things we're saying that organizations do to be able to manipulate these marketing mixes, it is true salesperson they sell to consumers, right? So that's one thing I would like to say about your question. Whether it is the salesperson doing those manipulations, okay, it is because the organizations, the producers have created an avenue for the manipulations. Because no salesperson will give you manipulate to a point where they're making a loss and still be selling. No. So it is within the purview of what the producers have created that they can manipulate. You understand? So whether the manipulation is being done by the producers, the organization itself, or the sellers, the salesperson, it is still the same thing we're looking at. Does it make sense, Abiola?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm getting it, sir.
Yeah. Sometimes, Coca-Cola then, they will tell you the price of Coca-Cola is 65 naira. That was when it was 65 naira, or sometime, I think it came to from 30 naira to, I know that, I don't know how much it's sold now, but then they will tell you liquid content only. Now they will put sometimes I don't know how many of you have noticed then when Coca-Cola used to write the price on the cover.
Bottle, yes, on the
Yeah,
cork.
they write the price there.
Let's do that in the
That's
past.
the price they expect you to buy, but they factored in the profit of the sellers into that price. Do you understand? They factored it in already because they know how much they sell to the retailers when it comes to um when for crate price. They know how much they sell to the wholesalers, they know how much they sell to the retailers. So they factored in your own profit in that price they wrote on the bottle. Do you understand? So it's always a thing that they do, together in manipulating all these marketing mix. Do we understand? Now, coming back to price, while some sell bring it first, introduce it at a very low price for people to buy, and then they now begin to increase it little by little. Some bring it into the market at a very high price, and they want people to buy at that point. So the people that can afford it at that point, they buy, and when the market is saturated, they now begin to reduce the price. Remember the one I talked earlier, they bring it low, they begin to increase. These ones now they bring it high and they begin to reduce, 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 reduce. Do you know? I don't have time. We would have talked about each of those ones and see the strategy in them. But I'll point out just one strategy each. I don't know how many people here. How many of you here bought your SIM cards for about 50,000 or 40,000 naira? How many of you bought your MTN SIM card for 40 or 50,000 here? Or you know somebody that bought SIM card for 50,000?
I bought my first Glow line for 45,000.
For how much?
45,000.
45,000
Okay.
low line. Any
Okay,
other
with
person?
Siemens handset then. When
It
they
came
were
with
selling with
Siemens handset
Siemens, yes, Siemens handset,
for
17,000
45,000, right?
for the SIM and then 21 or 23,000 for the handset.
How much for the same?
Almost 17,000 plus.
Beautiful. Now, thank you. Now, there are some people that bought their SIM for 50,000. Those times when you see people making call, you feel, wow, it was prestigious, it was status thing. And then from 50, when they saw that people that were buying for 50, they've already bought, all of them don't buy, nobody they buy again. They will now bring it down a bit to 40,000, 45,000. People that have 45,000 will buy and buy and buy and buy. When they've saturated that 45,000 K, that come down a bit to 40. They come down a bit, come down. That's how they came till they got to 20, they got to 17, got to 15, got to 10, got to 5, got to 3, got to 2. Today, SIM card is free. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Today, they even beg you, they even give you for 200. They give you 200 naira when you buy SIM card. They tell you, take, register it, you'll give you 200, you'll see 200 naira inside. So it is now not just free. They now pay you to buy SIM card today, but it was 50,000 before. The trick is this. By the time I sell 50,000 and people that are for 50,000 have bought, and then 40,000 buy, 30,000 buy, I would have made the money I invested in this whole thing. Other ones will be gain. The same thing with those that come with a very small amount. They come with small amount, but when millions of people buy, I would have made my money. If I come with 1 naira, if I spent 20, 30 million to invest in this business, and I say I'm selling it for 1 naira each, and 20, 30 million people buy, I think I've made my 30 million. Because the lesser the amount, the more people will buy. So I can make that 30 million by selling 1 naira for 30 million people to buy. I can also make the 30 million by selling 50,000 naira divided by 30 million for that number of people to buy. It's the same way. But all we are doing is manipulating price. Does it make sense? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
It's clear, sir.
Thank you. Now, place it's just about distribution, accessibility. When you hear place in the marketing mix, you know that it means this how far your product can be distributed. Is it clear now? How far products can be distributed, where they can be available. There's some products the reason I don't fancy or get interested in trying new things is because of continuity. I ask myself, if I eat it today, will I readily see it tomorrow to eat? If I take it today, will I see it tomorrow to take? So, like those people that visit new places and try new food, I'm always not too interested because I won't travel here tomorrow to come and eat this food if I like it. And they don't sell it where I come from. It's not that I don't eat, it's just that I'm always not very interested because I like the continuity. That's what place is about. Place is about distribution. Do we have your products everywhere? We just talked about 1.9 billion daily sales from Coca-Cola in over 200 countries. Did you mention 200 countries, Collins?
Yes,
200
yes, 200 countries, yes.
Coca-Cola is in about 200 countries of the world. 200 countries. Some people's products are not yet covering the whole of Lagos. But we're not trying to mock. We're saying continue. But then that Lagos that your product, if your product is covering only Oshodi in Lagos, that is your place, that's your distribution network, your distribution coverage. Let it move from there to Lagos, move from there to Lagos and Ibadan, then southwest, then go to south. That is coverage. Coca-Cola has gone beyond that migration and has gone to 200 countries of the world. Place is about distribution. So the more your products are in different places, the more people can access it and try it and be using it. Finally, no, not finally, the number 4 is promotion. Promotion is everything you do to make people aware of your product and also how to use it. Everything you do to make people aware, that's promotion, and also encourage them to buy, encourage them to use it. So your advertisement is a part of promotion. Your buy one, get one free incentive is a part of promotion. Your free testing and all that, they are all parts of promotion. Your PR, they are all part of promotion. Everything you do to make people aware of the product and to make them try it, taste it, is what we call what? Promotion. To encourage them to buy it is also part of promotion. The next one is people. Now, if you have the best product in the world, if you have the best product in the world, and let me put you on the other side, and I need an answer for this. You are going to an organization that has the best products in the world. You want to celebrate one very fantastic thing, maybe with yourself or with your spouse or whatever, and then you're walking into this store to buy the most expensive because they have the best. You're just walking in to buy the most expensive to celebrate whatever you want to celebrate. And immediately you stepped in, before you got into the compound, the gate man, first of all, made a mess of who you are. Started shouting at you. Okay, you know the C road. Okay, park where now? Okay, turn your hand now. Turn your hand this way now. Come, are you talking to me? What are you? You dey pay my, you dey pay my salary. But get out, I beg, go enter, go buy. Some people will drive off from there and get out of that company. Am I correct?
Very correct, sir.
Very, very.
Good. But some people that have patience, like some of us, because of, we'll be thinking, you get luck now because of my wife or because of what I want to do. If not, let me just go inside. And then you enter inside. The receptionist, first of all, was talking to somebody that's apparently maybe the spouse too, or the child, or doing official hour. And the person spends 30 minutes talking. Good stuff, Jerry. And you're there. And you're there waiting. And the receptionist is talking and talking and talking. And you try to use your key to hit the desk, while you're standing. The receptionist is still talking, not minding that you're there. What will you do for 30 minutes?
Somehow might be discouraged.
Okay.
Or resort to maybe be very impatient and then maybe react to
Good.
draw attention.
I
Now,
won't even for 30 minutes.
I like you, Jerry. You are the most natural person I have in this class. I have
Sir,
just told
no,
Abiola that I just told Abiola that gate man, first of all, rubbish team. And then he went in, and the receptionist is on the phone 30 minutes saying nonsense. And then Abiola said, I will be discouraged. Are you going to be discouraged?
I'm not the one that said I will be discouraged, sir.
I thought
I'm
you were
not
the one who.
the
Whoever
street
said I will be. Sorry, I made a mistake. It's not you.
administrator.
Whoever said I will be. Gate man misbehaved. And then you entered, and then the receptionist, and you say you are going to be this. Is that the word to use? When from gate man, we already said we would have been going home. But I felt, okay, let's be patient, let's go in. Some people will leave from there and go, or turn the place upside down. I'm telling you, some people will just, you guys are not serious, and just get out and just either go away or shout the office down to ensure that they are attended to. And maybe when they even raise the office down, they will just go without even buying anything. What are we trying to explain? You can have the best products, but if you have the wrong people, you still will not make sale. If you have the wrong salespeople, wrong gate man, wrong accountant, wrong marketer, wrong receptionist, wrong. People without respect, people without, they're not cautious. Okay, people that don't have emotional intelligence. If you have wrong people, you will not. It will drive consumers away. That's why people came into the picture. I hope we understand. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I went to get pizza. I went to get pizza somewhere. It's the place I usually get, but there's this person that used to attend to me, but for some time I've not seen her there. So I was there 2 weeks ago. It's an Asian shop. I was waiting. They were just speaking their Asian language. Before I got down from the car, I saw many Asians going in, many people going in and coming out, those that pick for deliveries and all that. So when I entered, I think I was apparently the only one there, but they were already busy and I was waiting. I was looking at them. I didn't say a word. I was looking at them. Normally they will come to meet you, take your orders, and then you go wait for maybe 15 minutes and come pick your pizza. And I was waiting that 2 weeks ago. I was just looking at them. They were discussing about 4 of them or 3 of them, busy walking and doing and then talking. And I was standing there. I think I don't know if it came with it that said that you won't wait for even 30 minutes. I think when about 5 minutes or so, I screamed and I said, "Are you guys blind? Don't you guys think you should come meet me and take my orders and know what I want? Oh, that wasn't enough. Sorry, we're sorry, we're sorry. We thought, I said, even if I'm coming for pickup, will you keep me here standing without even talking to me? Is it because I'm not Asian? Oh, I'm sorry. I just looked at them. They're all guys, really. But I looked at them and I felt, if I was the type that didn't have any bit of, I don't want to, is it loyalty, I'll call it, to that place, or wouldn't mind my family not having pizza that day, I would have just left and just told my wife they are rude. No, I felt no. My family's having pizza is more important than whatever I feel. So let me get it. I went there again last week and it was with rush they attended to me. But still, I still felt they were just doing it because of 2 weeks ago. What am I trying to say? You may have the best service. You're a good hairdresser. You're a good Uber rider. You're a good whatever. I mean, your service is good rather, but if you as a person you're not good, then you will still drive customers away. So let's mind that. That's why people have come into that picture. Some people today in organizations, they are being sacked because they don't smile. So you must learn to smile. Your smile makes people welcome to be around you and all that. And that one is process. Next one is process. Now, good product, good service with a bad process makes it zero. With a process that is too long, longer than competitors, makes it zero. For instance, I have the best pizza, but I have to wait in your place for 1 hour to get my pizza, what I ordered, to be delivered or to be prepared. Whereas in the other shop, their pizza is not as fine as yours, though. But I only have to wait 15 minutes to get pizza there and I go. Which one do you think? If I'm pressed for time, I'll go for the 15 minutes. You go to some places today, point and kill. You say, Madam, don't point now, this one I want. So, okay, God, just sit down. Just sit down. It will soon come to your table. And you wait, and you wait, and you sleep. You are the person you brought to eat point and kill. You slept there. Woke up after 1 hour, 30 minutes, and they're just serving the point and kill. And then the person that went for another point and kill somewhere, your friend, calls you to say, they are back home. Oh. Say, and I know chopping it. 20 minutes, they don't do them. Very nice, very fine. Which one will you? You will go to that one for 20 minutes. Processes, time is important, even if the goods, the products are beautiful or the services are beautiful. People are important. Processes are important. You should try to always make sure your processes are as short as possible and they are perceived to be, of standard, world class, as best as possible. I hope you understand. I'm wrapping off this now. Physical evidence is the last one amongst the marketing mixes. Physical evidence is the last one. And physical evidence is about the environment. You're coming to buy something beautiful and immediately you enter the compound, you get off your car, immediately you put your leg on the ground. nail entered your shoe, pierced your leg. As you say, you should remove your shoe and check your leg. As you try to put your other foot down, but to choke the other leg. I wonder which kind now war zone I come. I be in a office, I come by some. Am I in a war zone? But to nail everywhere as if it is. And then while you are limping to enter, immediately you open the door of the reception office. You open the door to enter. That's the entrance. The door. Listen, tore your agbada and tore your shirt because there's one nail sticking out somewhere. Are you going to go back to such place again to do anything? You understand? So physical evidence is important. Let your environment be clean, be nice. Let the inside and the outside be welcoming to people. Your marketing starts from there. Your marketing starts from the presentation of the environment, the presentation of the organization to the people. All right, down to your process before people can even taste your products. Marketing starts from way before the product gets into the hands of the people. Does that make any sense to us? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
It's clear, sir.
Thank you. Is there any question? We are stopping here for today. Any question, please? Any questions so far? Yes, we're still very much on course. I believe we're very much on course, so we're still fine. All right. Is there any question, please? Like I asked, do we have any question? And I hope the class has been clear. John, do you have a question?
And not yet, sir. It's been very flowing, very enjoyable.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. If we don't have questions, then we can stop there for today for under the ADIPO 1. We'll continue from there, but please go ahead and read up the marketing services. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not going to talk about the research. We may get into marketing tools, but that will be tied to another topic. Okay. So we will soon be done with this, and then we'll move on to the next topic. All right. So please read up. We're almost as soon as we're done with the marketing tools, that's tools for measurement and all that, the PEST tool and the SWOT and all that, then we'll come straight to our people management, which is going to be chapter 3, and then with that we should be wrapping off soon. Okay. So do you want to go for a break, or do you want to quickly? We've been here for over almost 3 hours. Okay, so
Sir,
yeah,
even if it's a short break, so that we can ease ourselves and.
Okay, please let's go for a break and come back in 10 minutes. Okay. We will not stay long after 10 minutes, maybe 20-30 minutes. I should be done. Okay. So come back in 10 minutes, and then in about from 1 o'clock we'll start, and then finish maybe 1:20. We'll be done. Do we agree, please?
That's okay. It's very good, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, so let's be back by 1 o'clock. Thank you very
I
much.
missed today's class. I don't know how to educate it.
And there is no recording for today's class, but I think Mr. Gabriel made an option. If it worked, he will let us know. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. if it works, it will let us know. He tried something. I know I told you I saw like they were streaming it somewhere. So if it works, it will let us know. Don't worry. Just be patient. Let's see how it goes. But then let's be
My
back.
network was very bad. I couldn't join
Yeah,
on
sorry.
time.
That's
Yes, sir.
yeah. Let's get back by 1 and talk briefly about the next course, just briefly, and then we can call it a day. Okay. Thank you very much,
All
everyone.
right.
See you at 1.
All right, sir.
All
Thank you,
right.
sir.
Yeah, welcome back. I hope we are all here. Welcome back. Like I said, we won't be spending,
Thank you.
yeah, we won't be spending too long a time now. Where did we stop on transport planning? I think we stopped here. Governance of transport system. Am I correct?
Yes.
Of the diagram, at the diagram here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure we looked at did we conclude that discussion? Did we look at everything? Or we were just about starting the diagram? Well, when we talk about I remember we had a very, very good class that day where we had to go through the elements of transport and then considered all those elements and then came back to the governance. And we said from governance of transport system, we are talking about uh, the way and the manner a nation administers its transport system. All right, the way and manner a nation administers. That's how every nation runs their transport system. Who are those that contribute to the laws? Who are those that contribute the provision, the maintenance, and all that to the entire transport system? And we, in the last class, talked about when we can really say we have a transport system. I remember we said, well, we do have a transport system, but we should improve. We should bring it up to what normally should be befitting. And for a system to be called a system, all the component parts must be working perfectly together. All right. Now, for us in Nigeria, how do we run our own, administer our own transport system? How is it planned? How is it administered? That's the question. All right. We have, if you look at the diagram, we have different, it's broken down into different or stratified into different layers with different people having their own responsibility. We begin with the national level, and that national level will be our own federal level, okay, in Nigeria, the federal level. So at the national level, what is the responsibility of the national government, of the federal government? National level policy and guidelines. Okay, so you know that we have our transport policy and then we have our transport guidelines, and that is always made by the federal government. So do we agree that federal government makes or federal government is the one that is supposed to sponsor the national transport policy? Do we agree?
Yeah.
Good. So we all agree that that is for the federal government, and that is what I think we have a national transport policy now in Nigeria, which was passed under Buhari, I think, and that was a very big achievement. Because before then, it was a draft, but he made sure that it was passed, and that's good. Then we have budgetary support, by the federal level, by the federal government. Do we agree that the federal government gives budgets or makes a transport budget? Is that true?
Yes, sir. They give transport budget.
Yes, that's true. Because there's always there's a transport budget from the federal government. Then we have national projects, initiatives like infrastructure developments and so on. Do we agree that the federal government does this for the Nigerian transport system?
Yes. Yes.
All right. What do I do? Please, just sorry, the call has ended. Now, Barrow's husband was calling me. All right, sorry. Class. All right, sorry. I can't see my slides anymore. A call came into. Can you all see my slides? Let me bring it up again, please. All right. All right. So we're looking at how nations plan and administer their transport system. All right. And then we're looking at the responsibility of the federal government, first of all, which is the national level. Now, we have agreed so far, and then operation of major rail operators. Operation of major rail operators. I hope you know that before now, railway was exclusively for the federal government before now. I hope you know that. I don't know if they've given it over now. If they've normally, okay. I promised I was going to explain something. Now in Nigeria, we have some legislative lists. We call them legislative lists. We have three types of legislative lists. We have the exclusive legislative lists are just those items or those responsibilities or functions that are left to certain tier of government. Okay, just when I begin to explain, you will understand, but just take it. Functions or responsibilities that are left for certain levels or tiers of government. I believe we all know we have three tiers of government in Nigeria. We have the federal, the state, and the local government. Okay. Now, the first legislative list we have is the exclusive legislative list. Exclusive. Now, when we say exclusive legislative list, all the responsibilities there and all the responsibilities and functions in that list is left exclusively for the federal government. Exclusively. No other person can touch it. No other person can do anything regarding those functions or responsibilities. That's in the exclusive legislative list. And then we have number two, the residual legislative list. That is exclusively for the state governments. So state governors are the only ones that can legislate when it comes to the residual legislative list. Nobody else, not even the federal government, can touch anything, any function or responsibility in that residual legislative list. And then finally, we have the concurrent legislative list. Concurrent has functions and responsibilities that both the federal and the state government can touch, can work on. Does that make sense? Do you understand my explanation, please?
Yes, sir.
Good. So while we
So
are discussing this, I want you to be mindful of what I've just explained. That's why I didn't rush it in the last class. I wanted to explain these things to you. Now, before now, the waterways, everything about water and everything about rail and everything about electricity was in the exclusive legislative list. What does that mean? If I say everything about water, rail, and electricity was in the exclusive legislative list, what does that mean, please?
It means it's all the sole responsibility of the federal to be in charge of it.
Thank you. It means it was the sole responsibility of the federal government to handle matters concerning those things. Now, many years ago, I think in 2014, more than 10 years ago, I was in a conference. I think, was it Jonathan that was, I think it was Jonathan that was, I don't know who was president then. I don't think it was Buhari. Maybe Jonathan or Buhari. Maybe Jonathan or Buhari was president then. I've forgotten. But then Umar, the Minister for Transport, was when in a function at Ikoyi in Lagos, Civic Center, VI in Lagos. And then we're there with all the commissioners of transport all over Nigeria. All the commissioners were represented in that meeting. Were there in that meeting. And then they were trying to talk about building jetties, state governors building jetties for the waterways and the electricity thing, and this Ikoyi Link Bridge also came into the matter then. And then the Lagos State, the current, I think is now the current I think he's now, I saw his name recently as the current MD of Railway, Okwefa. If anybody, if you're in Railway and Okwefa is the current MD of Railway, please let me know, because I think I saw it.
Nigerian Railway Corporation.
You said what?
He's the Nigerian current Director General of Nigerian Railway Corporation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Then he was the Commissioner for Transport for Lagos State, you know. So Okwefa was just saying, yes, we have gone to court. We have won 3 cases against the federal government as regards building jetties, as regards this, as regards that. And even this Ikoyi Link Bridge, we cannot, federal government cannot take over it because it is our right as the people of Lagos State. We will go to court. And then the Minister of Transport said, Okwefa, you better keep quiet. In that meeting, you better keep quiet. The fact that we are looking at you in Lagos and we are not saying anything does not mean what people are doing is right. We just decided not to wield the big stick. If we wield the big stick as the federal government, there's none of those cases that you will win. You will lose all the cases and we will take everything back. But I want to keep quiet and feel that you guys can develop the way you want to. Everybody wants to develop the way you want to, as long as it's not bridging even if it is stealing from what we feel should be in the exclusive legislative list. But don't worry, it's for development of the people. Go ahead. But that doesn't mean you will come to the public and begin to shout and begin to raise your muzzle that you want. You didn't win anything. We're just watching. Federal government is not just wielding the big stick. It was in that meeting that the Minister of Transport now promised, okay, we're going to we're going to go back to the National Assembly. We'll take the law on power, that's electricity, and the one on railway, and the one on waterways. We'll take it back to the National Assembly for them to repeal. When they repeal it, then they should reenact it and put it in the concurrent legislative list. So it won't be only for the federal government. If Nigeria must develop, let's develop it well. So we'll go back to National Assembly, tell them to repeal and then reenact. I don't know if they did that, but I think some of those laws have been repealed and reenacted and now in the concurrent legislative list. What was I trying to say? I was trying to say before state governments started looking at developing railways and having their own independent plants for electricity generation and all that, some of the laws had to be taken repealed, removed from the exclusive legislative list, reenacted, and put back in the concurrent for everybody to be able to share. You understand? So when you come back to this slide and you see operations by major rail operators, railway was under the federal government completely before. If it has been moved to concurrent, I don't know yet, but it was under the federal government. Yeah, it should have been moved because I know it took Lagos State many years for Lagos State to partner with the World Bank to convince the Obasanjo administration or Who's administration then, or Jonathan administration, to be able to do the light rails. The light rails. I think it was Obasanjo administration then, to be able to do the light rails. It was the World Bank and other international bodies that partnered with Lagos to convince federal government before they allowed them do light rails because they couldn't touch rails. But I think for now, it has come to the concurrent. I don't know if it has, but I think it should have come to the concurrent legislative list. So we agree to what federal should be doing when it comes to planning and administering our transport system in Nigeria. All right. The next one is regional, which we call our own state government, regional levels, which is state government. So let's see these functions. But before we leave national, are there other things that you feel the national government does? Okay, no, don't worry. Let's go on because of our time. Regional is number 2, which I call our state government there. So let's see their responsibility and see if that's what our own state governors do. Number 1, enforcement, regulatory functions, and pollution control. Enforcement, regulatory functions, and pollution control. Do you think our own state governments do that when it comes to our own transport system? Do state governments in Nigeria enforce regulatory control and control pollutions also?
The pollution control. I usually see some enforcement agents testing emission and some other things on cars, but they are selective anyway. To me, they are selective on cars with which they stop.
At least you have seen it now, Abi. At least you have seen it. Whether they select the kind of cars they test or not, at least we have started. So I think I give it that, yes, the state governments do this, right? Do we agree?
Yes, based on what you said, sir, yes.
Yes, at
Wow.
least, yeah. Let's leave the selection that they do. We know they will always want to go. If now you serve the work, you go and test the cars that don't have anything to inflict any kind of damage on your system now, than to go and test the ones that you know if you touch them, you can capture, have scratches and all that. Okay, so the state governments are involved with enforcing traffic rules and guidelines, and then regulatory functions, and then pollution control. The state governments are also supposed to develop master city plans. Do we have any state that has a master city plan?
I know Abuja has. Lagos has.
Before Abuja had, Lagos had.
Lagos had before Abuja.
Yes, Lagos had before Abuja.
Even Calabar had.
Calabar also has now, right?
Yeah.
I think Ibadan too.
Sir,
Probably is a work in progress.
every city has a master plan. That's why they create the state capital territory board. So yeah, these are the people that approve structural plans, roads, and some other things like that. So every city has. It's just the implementation.
The development.
Now, if by default we say every city has, that's why they are like that. But we know the ones that have. Do you understand? By default, every city should have. Do you understand me? I understand your point, Abiola. Every city should have by default, but I'm telling you, not everyone has. Not everybody wants to go through that pain of seeing that they think, especially when they begin to see when they don't see any need for it or they don't see the money it makes yet, they may not want to do it. You
Even
understand?
Abuja that had, it was someone that actually made it functional. It was actually
It was
bastardized.
it was El Rufai that wasn't El Rufai that made that thing
It was
functional.
Aerofy, yes, that made it functional.
So you need the mind that can tell you, the kind of administrator that can tell you this is a gold mine. Let's do it for sanity and also for revenue, to be able to harness it. So by default, they should have, but not all of them have. Okay, by default. But fine. So we agree with the master city plan. Now, minus the master city plan, there's also a transport master plan for cities. We have national policy on transport. The states don't have national policy of transport. They have transport master plan. I know Lagos has a transport master plan. I know when that master plan was being developed. I know when that master plan was launched. My very good friend, a lecturer turned a very good friend, was the former permanent secretary for transport in Lagos, Dr. Taiwo Salam, was then the permanent secretary when that master plan was launched. So we had our contribution to the master plan. So apart from just a master city plan, which we know every city should have, okay, but then there is a transport master plan, which not every city, I think it's only 2 cities in Nigeria or 3 that have this transport master plan. The reason you see that transport will not go back in Lagos, they will always be developing, is because there's a transport master plan. The reason you see that um, um, they'll still keep modifying transport facilities in Lagos, whether it is the roundabouts or the either facilities or infrastructure, you still keep seeing modification and modification is because there's a transport master plan. Where this current administration will stop, the next administration doesn't need anything new. It's just to check in that master plan where they stopped and what next to do. Lagos has gone beyond where somebody will come and scatter all what somebody has done and want to do new ones. No, there is especially for transport, there is a plan. There is a plan. Where Tinubu stopped, Fashola continued. Where Fashola stopped, Ambode continued. Where Ambode stopped, this one has continued. You understand? So there will always be that continuation. That's another thing that states will have. So you can add that to it if you are jotting. After the master city plans, put the state master transport master plan. That's for state. Another thing is budgetary support. We agree that state government also give budgetary support to transport. Fare determination, we agree. They determine fare either by using, like Lagos state government has been determining the transport fare in Lagos by pushing out BRT buses and making the price as stable as possible. But at some point when they discovered that it was too much, that the public was not getting to know too much about, we're still being exploited by the private public bus drivers, okay, and owners. Some at a point they gathered the NURTW and told them, you can't be exploiting people like this. We're the one providing the road. We're the one providing the security on the road and everything. What do you provide? You just bring your bus and put and you are exploiting everybody when it comes to transport. Reduce your transport fare. And they saw reasons with them and try enforcing reduction in transport fare pack by pack. That was then. I don't know if it's still happening now. So yes, fare determination is there. Then regional transport strategies and actions like green transport, port transport planning and all that. Yes, they do it, but also all the ports in Nigeria are owned by the federal government. I hope you know that. So we can still take that responsibility to the federal, to the national side, and instead of putting regional transport strategy, we put national transport strategies. Okay, we can take that particular point to the federal side. I hope you understand what I mean, and put national transport strategies. Now, for the local government, service delivery, transport undertaking, partaking, well, I don't have the time to explain them. Now, service delivery, no matter who owns the vehicles and all that, the service of a particular transport of the transport system starts affecting from the local government, because everybody that uses transport system belongs to one local government or the other. So the best bet of monitoring service delivery or requesting standard service delivery is usually from the local government. All right. Transport undertaking. All right. Every transport also springs. Every transport also springs. They either have their terminals at the local government, whatever, or at having their offices at the local government and all that. So local government have a very pivotal role to play when managing the transport system, when administering the transport system. Parking policy and implementation. Is there any park in Nigeria that doesn't fall under a local government? So most of the time, parking policies and implementation are policies that should come up from local. We're not saying states don't share in it, states do, but then it should basically be left for the local government. It is because of abuses, okay, or lack of capacity that these responsibilities move to the tier ahead, especially to the state government. Street designs should be done by the local government. Local projects, cycling tracks, footpaths, flyovers, subways, you will know that this is a responsibility shared by all the tiers of government. Footpaths can be left for local government, but cycle track, yes, some determined by local government, but mostly, determined also by the state. Flyovers and subways exclusively for the states or for the federal government. I think virtually all flyovers is done by the state government. But if you are doing it over a federal road, you're taking special permission from the federal government. If you're building a bridge across any water, normally, you should be taking permission from the federal government, because waters and their federal road, they are under their own purview. Location of major terminals, airport terminal is under, I don't know if that airport terminal should be under Ikeja local government, but I know it's a federal property. Okay. We have the Apapa Port Terminal under whether Apapa is, if Apapa has a local government, well, I know it's a federal property. So location of terminal should also be determined by local government. We don't do most of these things in Nigeria because the federal government has, according to the law of the land, the federal government own all lands in Nigeria and can do whatever they want to do. You understand? Even the local government lands, but still, so we can move some of those things to either the federal or the state, but then the local government should be doing that. Organization of last mile transport. Last mile transport is the transport between where your final stop is and your final destination. There's a difference. If you are going to the CILT office in Ikoyi and you're not driving, all right, your final stop could either be Obalende or TBS. And then you take your last mile transport from Obalende or TBS, which could be your Marwa or bike, to stop you at the CIT office, and then you can climb up. So that final stop, between your final stop and your final destination, you need a last mile transport. When you're going home, Sometimes the bus drops you at the bus stop and you take a walk to the house. Last mile transport is that transport that covers your final stop and your final destination. And these are mostly organized also by local governments, okay? Interaction with communities, mitigating local traffic issues. All these are handled by local government. Finally, and I'll take questions from this in the next class because I'm wrapping off now. Finally, you have your private firm. So in the administration of transport system, there is the government and the private. Government is divided into federal, state, and local governments. From here, we have national, regional, and local governments. And then we have the private sector. The private sector normally is concerned with the connectivity of transport, the connectivity. All they want to do is allow the government to provide the infrastructure so they can have the workings, you know. So that's why we put intermodal transport, providing different types of transport, both the one on the sea, the one in the inland waterways, the one on the road, and the one in the air, provided by the private sector. Is it clear now? And after that, having the interconnectivity of this transport, you know, done in such a way that they can make prescriptions to the government. Government can then create or make available what resources, what infrastructure, what facilities are needed for them to be able to thrive in business. If you go to big countries of the world, you discover that even train services are run by private sector. While the train itself and the tracks are provided by the government, the actual operations are done by the private sector. So every of these people are concerned and should be able to contribute one way or the other to the governance of the transport system. If you have questions, ask me now. We're about wrapping off. Any question? If there are no questions, then fine. We'll continue we're supposed to start from here in the next class. So in the next class, it's that we are asking questions for us to clarify what we have discussed here, or we'll move straight to traffic survey. Please note it down and remind me. All right. So if there are no questions, I'll see you again in the next class.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Bye, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
And you too, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you.